In the summer of 1997, the ocean stopped being a safe place. Deep within the remote, pitch-black abyss of the Pacific, a network of highly classified military microphones picked up something else entirely. It wasn't a submarine. It wasn't a torpedo. And it certainly wasn't an earthquake. It was an anomaly so unimaginably powerful, its frequency echoed across nearly 3,000 miles of open water. A sound scientists simply called the Bloop. For years, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration kept this terrifying recording under wraps. Why? Because of what the acoustic profile implied. According to marine biologists, if this sound was organic, if it came from a living creature, it would have to be at least 5 times larger than the largest blue whale ever recorded in human history. And the most chilling part? We still don't know what it is or where it is hiding. To understand the sheer terrifying scale of this anomaly, we have to look at how it was actually discovered. During the Cold War, the United States Navy established SOSUS, the Sound Surveillance System. It was a multi-billion-dollar underwater web of hydrophones, positioned at the very bottom of the ocean floor, designed to listen for the faint hum of enemy engines. But by 1997, the Cold War was over. The military handed partial control of this deep-sea network over to civilian scientists at NOAA to monitor underwater volcanoes and shifting ice. They were listening for geology. But what they heard felt disturbingly like biology. The origin point of the sound was traced to a remote, desolate region of the South Pacific Ocean, far off the southern coast of South America. An area almost entirely devoid of human activity. When acoustic researchers analyzed the spectrogram, they were completely baffled. Earthquakes leave a messy, chaotic signature on a radar. Icebergs cracking create sharp, distinct snaps. But the bloop? It was a low-frequency, high-amplitude oscillation. It rapidly rose in pitch over exactly 1 minute. It was rhythmic. It was deliberate. Dr. Christopher Fox, the lead scientist of the Acoustic Monitoring Project at the time, openly stated that the sound profile closely resembled a massive marine animal. But the physics simply didn't add up. For an organic call to travel over 3,000 miles underwater, the creature producing it would need vocal cords the size of a nuclear submarine. When the public finally learned about the bloop, theories exploded. If it wasn't a known whale, what was it? Some cryptozoologists pointed to the prehistoric megalodon, a giant shark thought to be extinct for millions of years. But even a megalodon, measuring up to 60 feet long, is practically a goldfish compared to the size required to generate the bloop. Then a much darker, far more unsettling theory emerged. Internet sleuths and horror enthusiasts noticed a terrifying coincidence. The exact coordinates of the bloop were pinpointed at 50 degrees south, 100 degrees west. Decades before the sound was recorded, legendary horror author H.P. Lovecraft wrote his most famous story, The Call of Cthulhu. In the story, an ancient, cosmic monster of unfathomable size sleeps in a sunken city at the bottom of the ocean, waiting to awaken. Lovecraft provided the exact coordinates for this fictional sunken city. The coordinates he wrote in 1928 were 47 degrees south, 126 degrees west. The bloop was recorded less than 1,000 miles away from the fictional resting place of Cthulhu. To many, this was not a coincidence. It was a warning. As pressure mounted, the government had to provide an answer. In 2005, NOAA quietly updated their official stance. They claimed that the bloop was not a giant monster. They stated it was simply an ice quake, the sound of a massive iceberg cracking and breaking away from an Antarctic glacier. According to the official government report, the mystery is solved. It was just ice. But for many independent researchers and oceanographers, the icequake explanation feels like a rushed cover-up. Icequakes are common. They are recorded constantly. Yet, none of them share the exact rhythmic biological signature of the bloop. Furthermore, the scientists who originally analyzed the audio in 1997 were leading acoustic experts. They knew what ice sounded like, and they initially insisted this was an animal. Why would the government suddenly change the narrative years later? Perhaps the truth is too terrifying for the public to handle. We have explored more of outer space than we have of our own oceans. More than 80% of the deep sea remains completely unmapped, unobserved, and unknown. But there is a detail that NOAA desperately wants you to ignore. The bloop was not an isolated incident. Just 2 years later, in March of 1999, the exact same SOSUS hydrophone network picked up another terrifying anomaly. They called it Julia. Unlike the deep, rumbling oscillation of the bloop, Julia sounded distinctly like someone, or something, cooing or whining across thousands of miles of ocean. The origin point was pinpointed near the Antarctic coast, but the sound was so loud it was heard by the entire equatorial Pacific hydrophone array. And in the exact same year as the bloop, there was another event classified as the slowdown, a massive acoustic anomaly that slowly decreased in frequency over 7 straight minutes. It was picked up by military sensors over 3,000 miles apart. 3 massive, unexplained biological sounds, all recorded within a tight window, all in the same desolate regions of the Pacific and Southern Oceans. If these were just cracking icebergs as the government claims, why did this sudden burst of deafening anomalies happen all at once? And why did they suddenly stop? Some military whistleblowers suggest a much darker reality. In the late 1990s, the US Navy was conducting experimental deep-sea tests using highly classified sonar weapons. Weapons that may have disturbed something ancient that was sleeping at the bottom of the ocean. Something that woke up, communicated with its own kind, and then retreated back into the deepest trenches of the abyss. Whatever made that sound in 1997 might still be down there in the freezing dark, lurking just beyond the reach of our submarines, waiting. But the most terrifying truth isn't just that the ocean is unexplored. It is the realization that we have absolutely no idea what we might accidentally wake up next. If you thought the isolated depths of the Pacific were terrifying, wait until you hear what is being broadcasted right now on land directly into the open air. While we search for monsters in the abyss, there are equally chilling mysteries transmitting across the globe, frequencies that governments are actively trying to hide. Do not miss our investigation into the most dangerous radio station on Earth, the UVB-76. Click the video on your screen now to enter the Cryptic Vault. Stay paranoid.